Hello, what's this week's Devil in the Detail podcast? I'm Rob Parkinson. We're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Joining the show this week, as ever, we've got Paul Parkin. Oh, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done this. Parky, have you recovered from the semi-final experience?
Evening, Rob. No, is the answer.
Right.
Still bitter and twisted. I've had a bit of time to calm down, obviously. I think if you'd asked me any time the week following the game, I don't think it'd been broadcastable.
No.
So, yeah, it's a good job I've had a chance to calm down now and start looking forward again now. But it's given us time to sort of think about what we witnessed in the last sort of 6 months or so, and what the club have achieved in the last sort of 12 months really, and it's been fantastic, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been amazing. What the club have achieved in the last sort of 12 months, and where we thought we might be and where we are is sort of chalk and cheese in it really. But the journey doesn't end here, Park. It rolls on to 2023, and I think that's the important thing. That's the thing we've got to think about. I'll say big thanks to all the people who have messaged me about Grandad passing away. I didn't quite expect the love from our listeners, so big thanks for that. So yeah, we're going to be sort of looking back at the Saints game. I've got all the big news that have come out since we last broadcast. We've got Paul's Whiteside World of Rugby League, and then we're going to do our Player of the Year awards. So hold on to your hats, and we'll see you which man and which woman comes out on top. So we'll start with the semi-final defeat in St Helens. So Salford Red Devils were defeated against St Helens, 19 points to 12. Parker, brave performance shown by Paul Rowley's boys, but just couldn't get over the line.
Yeah. I think overall on the game itself, the best team probably won on the day. It's unfortunate the game was overshadowed by things out of both teams' control, really. That it shouldn't happen that way. But the boys they give everything they've got, like they have done all year. They match Saints in so many areas, and to do that against a side like St Helens with all the players. I mean, they were saying the week before they were going to have 6, 7, 8 players missing. You turn up on the day, and that's just St Helens. We were more trouble without having Brody in the team. And then things didn't go well from the start. And the Andy Ackers goes off after 2 minutes, if that. More or less one of the first challenges of the game. And from that point, I think I knew. I think I had in my own mind that it wasn't going to be our day. But we didn't stop trying. Saints came out of that and knew they'd been in the game, and that's all you can ask for. And after the season we've been through, and it's been up and down. We had shaky period where we only won probably a couple of games out of 10 or something, and then it flipped on its head. It went the other way where we only lost a couple out of 10. But no, that game was disappointing. I think on that day, I believe we'd have probably beaten anybody else. I really do. I think Saints just had a little bit too much for us in that first half. They were strong. They outmuscled us in defence. We couldn't make meters. We couldn't get out of our own half, which again, without Brodie Croft being in the team, is going to happen. I'm not taking anything away from Chris Atkin, who was brilliant on the day. But you know what you get with Brodie Croft. He's just that touch of class that can open up a team, and we lacked that little bit. But in the second half, we came back into it and we give them a real fright. At one point, we had that try disallowed for the obstruction, and then there's the controversy over a possible penalty try. Either of them go your way, and it's a different game. And it could have been us at Old Trafford, and it'd have been nothing less than the lads had deserved. But on the day, I suppose Saints just edged it, and that some clever play, that drop goal just before half time. I didn't realise at the time how crucial that could have been. Very smart, last play of the game. But that's Saints. They don't stop. And that's what you need to be that champion team, really.
Yeah, like you said there, champion teams find a way to win. And that's what St Helens did. We huffed and puffed, it has to be said. The effort was there, the commitment was there. Didn't kind of feel like compared to the week before against Huddersfield, that it was our day from the very beginning for me. Obviously, like you said, Andy Ackers going off injured, and you're losing half your spine there. We know Brodie Croft, no Andy Ackers. You bring Amir Burrer in, who, look at the stats, we know tremendous defensive display from him. But it's a learning experience for everybody, isn't it? And our boys, I think, obviously at the end of the game, where you're there, look, your players disappointed, they come over to clap the crowd, and we're sort of looking at them and they're looking at us. Didn't have that kind of. It was a weird feeling, but it didn't feel like it was the end of the journey for me. It was they weren't brought. I'm saying I don't think they were devastated, because they probably would have been a bit, because they've just been beaten in the Super League semi-final. But the vibes I was getting wasn't. This was the one opportunity we had. And you could tell that by the faces, that they thought it's the one we got, one that's got away here, rather than the one we threw away.
Yeah, I think you're right. That reaction from the players was a little bit more. It wasn't. They weren't celebrating the fact that they'd made a semi-final, which is more than anybody expected. It was more a disappointment they hadn't won the semi-final. I mean, you're away at St Helens. Our own history tells us we don't win there anyway. But to go there and put that effort and be so close to turning them over, and like I say, it only takes a couple of things to go your way. Perhaps a different official on the day might have seen things differently, and we might have got the rub of the green. You don't lose Andy Ackers early on. That, I mean, for me, when Andy went off, I thought then, and again, I'm not knocking Amir, but that threat he's got from acting half, them little runs he makes an extra 10, 15 meters from the play of the ball, which a lot of hookers can't do. Not just, it's just something he's become so good at this year. And he gets us on the front foot, the quick play of the ball, and we're on the attack. We didn't get any quick play of the ball, or certainly not in the first half. And that would have been where Andy would have really shone. And I think that might have been part of Paul Rowley's thinking with putting Amir on the bench, because he hasn't really played a lot this year, but he's obviously thought Andy's going to do a lot of work for us, and he's going to need to rest at some point, and we'll switch a few things about. Unfortunately, that got taken away from us.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that, Pat, because I think what Paul Rowley thought was we need an extra pivot in the line, and Amir Burrer would bring that. And obviously, they would have trained like that all week, wouldn't they? And obviously, Andy Ackers is an 80-minute player for us, so we don't expect him to go off. So it's like for like, but then it takes that extra sort of extra something we've got on the edges. You know what I mean? When he's not there, but it was tremendous performance. He did some 53 tackles. We'll come to the stats in a bit, which is a tremendous sort of amount of tackles, especially in the semi-final. So young as well. He's obviously learn from this experience. He'll come out a better player, definitely. Look, talking about the sort of big sort of incidents in the game, Parky. Obviously, we've got to remember that we don't have a game without the officials. Fans do lose the tops with officials. That has to be said. Some of the decisions for me were 50-50, but we'll just quickly run through and see what your thoughts on them were as well. We'll start with Chris Atkins' chicken wing incident, put in the bin after that. So Saints start 12 men. We took advantage with the next set and scored. Should it have been red?
Well, has Knowles gone to deliberately harm the opponent? As far as I'm concerned, that's the only thing he could have been doing. There's no reason to hang on to him. You release the player when you tackled him or the player. Well, that's it. They're the rules. He hasn't done that, so straight away it was a penalty anyway.
Yeah.
But the movement and the way he knew what he was doing. That's not an accident. He hasn't just all of a sudden forgot that he's got hold of something or he's accidentally caught him. It's not even like lifting the leg. This is a move that he knew what he was trying to do. Even if he only thought he was delaying the play of the ball and maybe didn't want to injure him as such. It's dangerous play, and it's deliberate dangerous play. Therefore, surely it's a red card. I don't totally agree with red cards, and they can spoil games. And I'm not certain every official would have seen it that way. And then for it to be seen there, there's TV screens there that. The fourth officials, anybody could have said, realistically, that's dangerous play, deliberate foul play. Should he go? Yes, I think he should. The referee chose not to.
Takes a brave referee I think, to send someone off in a semi-final or a final, because it permanently changes the outlook of the game. It was a foul, and he got put in the sim in for it, and we took advantage by scoring on the next set. Should he have been totally sent off and red carded? We all know what what the win ratio is under this particular referee, so it's not great. So I don't expect any favours from him. So a sim bid for me was probably the most we were going to get in that situation.
But the thing is, it shouldn't matter what game it is.
No.
I mean, if it was the first game of the season, does that make it, worse or better? I don't know. And then even if it's just a regular season game and that team don't get a man sent off or do get a man sent off and it affects the result later in the season, somebody could ever make the top 5, top 6, or somebody could get relegated on that one result. It matters every time. The referees have got to get it right and be consistent, and to listen to other people and ex-officials and so on. Nobody seems to have a clear idea of what it was.
Yeah.
But surely the rules are the rules. And if he's gone to deliberately hurt a player in a game that, let's be honest, it's tough enough, you don't need that, then that's a red card. And I don't care what game you're in. The referee has got to have, should we use the term, minerals to make decisions. And if he can't do that, then perhaps he's not in the right job.
Possibly. Like I say, I suppose it's something that he'd have to be thinking about is official reviewer, I suppose, to see what, whether his thought process was right. We'll talk about the next incident. Chris Atkin headshot. We'll call him Christ Atkin because he came back from the dead at least twice in that game. It was ferocious, but for me it was fair. Hit him on the chest. Chris just jumped straight back up. Didn't milk it. So for me, he thought it was probably fair as well. But in that situation, we're crying for anything. So to shout at the crowd, you're hoping the ref might overreact, but didn't.
No, I agree. I think it was, those challenges are always difficult because the intent is to stop the player getting the ball away. That's all that, he didn't deliberately go and try and hurt him. That's the key. Was it missed time? Was it slightly high? Possibly. But he didn't aim to do that. And sometimes that's where the game can be a little bit too soft. Where you think, oh, he hit him a little bit high. Well, yeah, but that's the challenge. And every player knows that. And if you're kicking up, I mean, Mark Sneed must get it every other week.
Oh, yeah.
The same thing happening. I've seen it a lot this season where some have been penalised, some haven't. If it's deliberately, if he's 2 seconds late, then it's a penalty.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. He was, he's all in the same sort of movement, really. I've got no problem with it. If it was a little bit high, his technique then needs working on. A quick word with him, but I don't think there's anything. There was no malice in the challenge, so I just say play on.
Yeah, there was a similar incident for the ladies against Stanley, where Alex Simpson stepped one of their big forwards, and instead of their forward kind of driving forward like the Saints player did, she just stood still, and Alex just ran into her like a cartoon character runs into a door. So and she went down, but it was a similar kind of incident for me. So yeah, tough sport, rugby league, and that's the way it is. These. We have the ultimate respect for every player who crosses that white line, because it's a tough game, and it's pushing yourself both physically and mentally to get over that line and be the best player you can be. So yeah, it was a tough shot, and Chris, to his credit, just jumped straight back up, played the ball, and we'll go again. But it was an interesting situation. That next one, Parker, we'll talk about the Tim Lafayette obstruction try. For me, what's your thought process on that? Is it a try or not?
Would he have got there?
That's the question.
And I think he probably would. And my thought is that Makinson obviously thought he would. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made that particular challenge. He'd have left it to chance, or he expected his fullback or whoever to clean up. I personally think there is an infringement there, and it has disrupted the chance of the player scoring. Now, the rules are a bit vague on this, and this is where it's difficult. Personally, I think if it had been at the other end, it might have been given as a penalty try. However, it wasn't. I do think he has done it on purpose. It is a deliberate act. Therefore, he's known what he was doing and why he was doing it. And in his mind, and probably in Tim Laffey's and everybody else's around that area, thought he was going to score. And he's done what he can to stop him scoring.
Right.
Now, whether he would have or not, we'll never know. No. You know, there's no way. So anyone making that call, but for me, what the referee, he should have passed it upstairs and had a discussion. I think get somebody else's opinion on what has just happened, because clearly he didn't know. Yeah,
Tim Laffey has a lot of things. He's got silky hands. You know, he's quite tall. He's a good centre, quite skillful. You know, good defender. One thing he isn't is quick. Do I think that he gets to the ball before it goes dead? No. I know he scored a try against Leeds, similar, a few weeks ago, beginning of the season, but the angle of the kick was a better angle for him to get it. You got to kind of remember how often the obstruction tries are given. They're not given, you know, for anything. So you're asking for a referee to say, you know, there's a collision 5 yards from the line. Does Tim get to that ball before it goes dead? If he doesn't collide with him, and I think there's too many what ifs in that whole process. If that collision happens 5 yards further forward and they're on the line, we're not shouting for an obstruction try there, are we? We're just saying just dive on the ball, and that's the difference.
But the referee has given a penalty, so therefore he knows it's an infringement.
True.
He hasn't said play on. He hasn't said he's not getting to that ball. It's gone dead.
Yeah.
What the collision has nothing to do with it. He's saying, yes, you've deliberately pulled that player away from the ball in the act of trying to score a try.
True.
Now, anything that could have happened from that point is an if and maybe. Was he obstructed? Yes. Right? Now, there's nothing to say that perhaps the Saints player was going to go for the ball and dive on it, but miss it or knock it on straight into our. But anything could have happened from that minute. That doesn't matter. It's what happened at that point. Could he have made it? We'll never know.
No.
Does it matter how quick? He might have just had a sudden leap from nowhere and got on it. Anything could have happened if Makinson hadn't touched him.
Yeah.
So it is vague, and that's the problem. I don't think he was particularly interested in giving it. I'll say that.
No.
And at that point, that was a massive turning point. I think we had them on the rack a little bit then. And then from that, we probably didn't make the right decisions. But personally, yeah, I do. I think he could have been. I think in many chances it could have been given. I know what you're saying about penalty tries don't get given a lot, and that's another rule that kind of changed, didn't it? And I know in the NRL it's either one or the other. It's either a yellow card or a try.
Yeah,
you can't give both. And in this case, he gave a yellow card and not, so. I don't know. It probably needs clearing up, but it doesn't happen that often. So, but personally, I think he was going to score, or the chance was there for him to score until he was infringed, and then it wasn't.
It's just unfortunate.
That one split second, everything changed.
It's just that, unfortunately, when video referee, you can't say, right, we'll go to the screen, but Exhibit A, I've got Tim Laffey scoring against Leeds 3 months ago. Look at that. Look at this try. Then look what just happened in front of you. Do you think he gets it? And you can't do that because it's not a courtroom, is it? That's why. But I don't know. I deep down, I don't think he gets it.
But then if it was Joe Burgess going for that ball, would you say the same thing? It's the same infringement. The penalty is for the same thing. Doesn't matter who's going for the ball, whether it's Jack Ormonroyd or Tim Laffey. The incident has still happened, and he has deliberately stopped him from making an attempt to score a try.
Yeah,
that should be. It shouldn't be need to be any clearer than that.
It's just a lot of, like you say, when you see teams, they kind of shield the guy who's going to catch it, don't they? So let's say if they change the rules, say right, any kind of sort of obstruction of a runner, then puts you in the bin, or gives an obstruction try, does it suddenly turn into a game of basketball on the 5th tackle? You just kick it through, someone blocks someone off, and he goes, "Okay, have to try because he blocked him," even though it might not get it, but the action's there. And I think that's the kind of the danger in sort of this rule change that we would like, because you get teams just kicking the ball dead and running into somebody. Let's just even say I was going for it, but I ran into him. I knew I was going to get it, but I made it look like I did. And then referee might give you a penalty try for an offence that wasn't there.
To be fair, that already happens. Players do run directly into players to try and win penalties. That's already happening, and probably already has, always has, and always will. I think that's to referee and linesmen then to use their intelligence and go, well, we know what you're doing, or if you're 15 yards out, you're not getting there.
No.
Whereas if you're on the try line, could it, the bounce of the ball could have gone anywhere. But it was just another one of those. I mean, there was an incident in the first half, which we haven't mentioned, where the ball went dead, and Burgess picked the ball up to go for a quick tap, and the Saints player blocked him behind the try line.
Right.
Now that was obstruction. We're going for a quick play the ball, and the referee didn't see it, apparently. Now, if he didn't see it, and his linesman didn't see it, and nobody else saw it, what are they watching? Somebody's watching what's going on when that ball is going to be live. The kick through, Joe Burgess has picked it up, and he's ready to race back. He's just got it behind the in goal, and he's running back, and their player then stops him, tries to knock the ball out of his hand to slow the play of the ball down. You know as well as I do, if Joe Burgess gets in the clear, he's probably going to score.
Yeah.
So is that, where does that go? I mean, you can't say penalty try for that, obviously, because it's a different thing, but he has purposely stopped him going, and it should have been a sin binning from that point, and the referee turned the other cheek.
Was it when Bouts in the game, was that would Saints already down to 12 men at that point or not? I can't remember.
I can't remember where they were at. It was in the first half. But same, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
And, we've been down to 11 men before now.
I suppose the difference, you think, obviously, because everyone's human, aren't they? So if he bins one Saints player and then bins another one, he's like, starts thinking, I can't bin everyone.
They used a lot of the tricks that teams do, and got away with them.
Exactly. But that's what champion teams do. They find a way, Parker, and it's little things like that wins you the game, and we will learn from that experience because we won't get sucked into that, or we'll make sure that we, when we do score tries or try and score tries, they can't, put any elements of doubt in it or whatever. And that's the experience, that's the growing, the development side of where we are, and hopefully this experience, or the semi-final experience, will help us 12 months down the line next time we get to a playoff game or whatever, because we'll know what it takes to go and win a game, really. King Bunny ILR crossing behind the play of the ball. For me, Parky, I think he passed the collision before he gave it. But if Elijah Taylor goes over there, it's we go and win that game.
I thought straight away it was, even though I was getting drowned in bay of people around me at the time. I thought straight away, I thought it was an obstruction, or it would be given as one. I'm not sure he's actually totally interfered and taken anybody away from the thing, but that's the rule. That's what he's done. He is. As soon as I saw it, I thought that's the one thing that gave it away was how open Saints' defence was, and I thought that's not right.
Yeah,
something's gone wrong there. So I've got no problem with that decision as such. It was the right decision. If it had been at the other end, I'd have been crying for it.
Yeah, so. I was talking to a lad at the ladies' game, and he's made the point that is it not a bad read from the Saints player coming across? And I was like, it's got a point, because obviously the runner's there to draw his attention, and he just took the bait. So if you got a dumb runner coming across, then and you're not giving, and you're being sort of penalised, then what's the point in bringing the dumb runner across?
Well, again, it's something you see every week.
Yeah.
It happens every week, and you go, well, he's just that the defending player's got that wrong.
Yeah.
But it's the rule. That's the way it is, and it looks like he's gone behind a player, or he's running to the line and not gone directly through. That's it. They're the rules, and that's in that instance. I've got no problem with the decision at all. I think again, if it's the other way around, I say that's an obstruction. So, yeah, it was a tough one. And at the time, I said from that play the ball, funnily enough, just calm down. You don't have to score now. And immediately we did something stupid. Players didn't seem to communicate properly in what they were doing. And again, that probably comes through players not being where they should be in terms of not being on the pitch. But yeah, I thought that point at that penalty from that play the ball, and I thought, don't do anything silly, just build it. Yeah. And we didn't. We went for it straight away, and it just didn't work. But
rally ball, play what you see, and they think it's on. It's
absolutely.
On. We can't say build it, and go when the players have got this far with this, attitude of it's on, let's do it, but not in a reckless way.
Yeah. My other thing with the referee was it's not just the big things. It was the holding downs, the offsides, which seemed to go one way and not the other. There was one incident in the first half where their player, I can't remember which one, it was one of their forwards, I don't know if it was Lee's or something like that, and he lay on for 5 or 6 seconds at the play the ball. Literally, and the whole ground sort of was breathing in. Even the Saints fans were sort of like, oh, get off. Yeah. Nothing. On the next set, we held on for a split second, and straight away. Yeah. And somebody shouted, well, not one person, quite a few people around me shouted, he couldn't wait. He just wanted to give a penalty. And when you watch it back, you can see it. And this isn't just my opinion, this is the opinion of a lot of rugby league fans who watched that game, who went anti St Helens after this game. And it wasn't really Saints' fault. If they try and cheat or do something to manipulate the rules, then fine. It's up to the referee to stop that. If the referee's not doing it, then he's the problem, not Saints. And that was them little 50-50s weren't 50-50s. It was definitely 60-40 every time. He's swayed by the crowd on a couple of occasions. There was I think he gave a forward pass, which when I've watched it back, and even the commentators went, "That's not forward." He got them wrong, and overall, he had a shocking game. Yeah. So, but he is a shocking referee. So that's what you get. And I said the week before, you remember, I put my head in my hands when we were discussing him. I knew exactly what we were going to get before the game. That shouldn't be the way. I've often said, I like this referee, and he's had a terrible game on the day. Or I've always gone, God, we got him again. And you go, he had a good game today, didn't he? They surprise you, but he never lets me down in terms of, he lets me down every time. So, yeah, I think he got what I expected. And, I see his reward. He doesn't get punished. He gets the £1 million game this week. But that's the way it is, and the RFL or Super League do have their favourites, and he's clearly one of them.
Positives, Parker. What can you take from the game for us, positive wise? For me, I thought we played to our structures. We didn't panic. We played, the whole 80 minutes really. Not kind of going off kilter, playing to what we know. I thought, we've played with no fear, and that is half the battle when it comes to sort of semi-final rugby. It's whether you get swallowed up in the whole occasion. I don't think we did.
Attitude. No, that was brilliant. I thought, because in that first half, they dominated us in spells, certainly in defence, and we didn't give up. We never stopped trying. In the second half, we had a real go. We could have been down at half time, and they let them come out and score again and just kill the game completely and run away with it, and it didn't happen. So the attitude was right, the commitment, coming into the last 5-10 minutes, the fitness. I thought we looked fitter than they did, fresher. So I've got no, I was just proud of them on the day. I've been proud of Salford before when they've lost, but mainly because, we did all right to get here, didn't we? This time because we competed and we deserved to be there. And like you said before, it seems to be the start of something. And the players had that attitude, like you see with big teams when they get beat, and they're disappointed. They can't, you know what I mean? They expected to win, I think. I really do. I think they had that role. And if things work out differently, you know, like say Brodie Croft doesn't get a head injury and Andy Ackers doesn't go off early on in the game, you just never know. Because with those two players and us at full tilt, and we only lost by, you know, a few points anyway, we could win that game. So I have no negatives about our team from that game. None whatsoever. And I remember halfway through the season going away to Hull KR, and I watched that team, and that is day and night, them two sides. We turned up at Hull KR. I think our top meter maker, our forwards, would make 30 meters or something. And towards the back end of the season, that's a different team that I watched. Different players, different attitude, and there was a belief that they deserved to be at that top table with everybody else. And I hope it sticks with them. I hope they don't forget that feeling through the winter and come back in the new year, and we crack on again, and we go one step further next year.
Yeah, another possible crossroads moment of where we go on more, if that makes sense, which is exciting.
Well, and the difference is this year that we're not losing 13 or 14 players.
Yeah.
You know, these lads are together again. 4 or 5 might go out, 4 or 5 will come in, but you've got to freshen the squad up anyway. That's what you do. But the nucleus of that squad and that commitment and togetherness is still there, and we can build on that. And we're not starting from scratch this year. We're going for. Don't forget, at the start of this season, Paul Rowley comes into a new job with a load of players that he didn't sign. They weren't his team, and he's moulded it as the season's gone on. Kurt Haggerty and Danny Orr, obviously, who's moving on. But I've put that team together and got them working and singing from the same, hymn sheet. And I don't know. I can only see better times.
Better days ahead. That's what it's all about. Looking at the stats, top tacklers: Callum Watkins 47, Shane Wright 37, Elijah Taylor 42, Amir Borough 53, Alex Jarrett 46, Parker. Forwards, an absolute shift there.
That's a lot of work from a lot of players, and it was quite a nice day as well, wasn't it? Really, conditions wise, so it's tiring. Saints put us under the pump in that first half. They really did. We had to do a lot of work, and then even at certain parts in the second half where they were forcing us back, and we were defending our line again, and it was brilliant to see that. It was like you won't go through us. Even that try, the tries in the first half with kicks and things like, anything can happen. But no, defensively, that's brilliant. And like you say there, what was that? 4 or 5 players, all 40 odd and above. That's a lot of work. But doesn't surprise me. And Amir Borough, 50 odd tackles coming in off the bench. He's not the biggest lad either.
No.
So maybe Saints even targeted him at one point to try and take away his attacking flair, perhaps. But no, great effort.
Top meat makers: Ryan Browley 110, Tim Laffey 96, Joe Burgess 133, King Vuniyawa 68. But like you said, Saints pins us in. It's hard to get out.
Yeah, we didn't have too much sort of clear space, did we? We didn't get on the front foot enough, which was our problem throughout the game. There's only really that break in the second half from Burgess that opened up, and that's credit to Saints, to their defence. They did really well, so you can't expect more than that, really. But there's a lot of bringing it out from the backfield, weren't they, from the wingers and the fullback. But it's a good effort all around, a lot of shared work, and I think them stats basically show the game for what it was.
Yeah. So, what do we learn from this experience, Park, going forward? Finally.
That's a good question. What we learn, I think, from the semi-final itself, I don't know. Maybe I think we may have lost out a little bit in up front in that game, which we've already started to build a new pack, and that could help. Don't get head injuries. to your key players. That's one, but I'm not sure how you go about that. But nothing, because there's nothing to it. It's not like previous years. I think over the back end of the season, we had learned. We learned how to play together. We learned our own style, and we weren't trying to be anybody else. We were just being Salford. And other teams were worrying about us. And I don't think there's many lessons to learn. Maybe just as the season went on, discipline. Because we started the year, we were giving penalties away for fun. And as the season went on, we seemed to cut them out, the little, six agains and that kind of thing. And it all kind of came together. Certainly in that game at Huddersfield, we were nearly perfect, I would say. So Saints game happened. We were, I think Saints were the better team and deserved the win. And for the, for the money they have on their salary cap, for the crowd to get, for the club they are, for us to be matching them, I think we've done what we can do. And to move on now, it's just about maybe getting that bit of luck and a bounce of a ball.
Yeah. Fine line between winning and losing, and we aren't far away. I don't think we're that far away. We're nearer than we've ever been to being a top club that competes for trophies every season, and that's the mentality we've got to going forward. It's can't be a flash in the pan. Paul Rowley talks about changing people's perceptions quite a bit in the press conferences, and for me, what we've achieved this season, we only get the benefit of if we do it again next year, and that's it. Yeah, we made big impressions. We got to a semi-final as the big underdog, but next season people will know what we're about, so it will be a bit more difficult to do. But that's what playoff teams do. That's what champions do. They keep turning the magic on week in, week out, year in, year out, and we're on the start of that process. So next year is the big if. We can recreate what we've done this year. Next year, Paul Rowley might be right. Perceptions will be changed.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a tough one, isn't it? That's always our Achilles heel. Backing the season up, we'll have a good year. We'll follow up with a shocker, and that's where that's got to change, and that's when perceptions change. This year could be seen as a flash in the pan. Everyone go, "Well, Salford do that every now and then," and straight away, I know the Super League's main sponsor has already put out the odds for next year.
Yeah.
And again, we're outsiders, massive outsiders. I think we're like third or fourth, favourites to be relegated again. After what we've achieved this year, they're the perceptions that we need to change. How some of them teams are being ranked above us after what we've just watched in the last 12 months is crazy. But these people aren't poor, are they? So they must be getting something right. But again, that's just a perception. It's Salford. It's only Salford. They'll only be this. Well, this is the challenge now, and it's where we need to step up. And let's, if the worst happened and we didn't make the playoffs next year, let's be just competitive and be in there. And that's building. That's making people worry about us.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. You got to, obviously, like you said, we're a threat, and we just got to make sure we carry out that threat now. That's the bottom line. So that's our look back at the Saints semi-final, and now we'll look and see what's happening in the world of Salford Devils. So this week, Parker, they've had a England Lions week happening at the club. Not just Salford, all the clubs will World Cup coming up on the horizon. The ladies had an open training session, I think, on Monday. There was I think it was learning disabilities session, I think Tuesday. There was a Year 7 and Year 11 Rugby League Festival today, which was Thursday. So done lots of great stuff, engaging with the community and trying to grow the profile of Salford Devils and Rugby League.
Yeah, well, this is the time to go in for the kill, really, isn't it? Rugby League profile at the moment is probably as high as it's been for quite some time. Certainly ours as a club in the community. I mean, you saw what them playoff games did. From the Cass game, the travelling support, to the Huddersfield game, to the Saints game. People were on that wagon with us. And now's the time to strike with the World Cup coming up. very, very close behind. It's an exciting time. And yeah, I mean, you can't ask for more from our club as we've known for the last God knows how long, the efforts they put in. But the whole rugby league seems to be trying to point in one direction at the moment. I know there's obviously we'll probably talk about it in a bit, but you know, there's been a meeting this week and for the future of Super League and rugby league in general. But I think at the moment, I think now's the time for people to get involved, and our club's right at the front of that. The opportunities that we offer, and yeah, it's been a busy week, even though the season's over.
It has. You're not wrong, Parker. Talking about the international season that's just about to start. Dion Cross and Tyler Dupree have been picked for the England Knights squad. Both been fantastic for us this season. Opportunity Club gives opportunity. These two are the poster boys for that.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you look at both of them. I mean, they're both at Widnes, weren't they, last year, and probably considering the futures in many ways. Not being full time or anything like that. And Dion made that switch to us, and he's shocked and delighted all of us. I don't think there's any doubt about that. No Salford fan expected this. I don't care what anybody says and what kind of expert you think you are. Nobody expected Dion Cross coming from Widnes on the wing in the Championship last year to being, frankly, an international centre this year. He's been outstanding. He's played every game and not let us down. And not just not let us down, been brilliant. And Tyler, he obviously had his chance at Leeds and he'd been about, and whether he thought his chance had passed. And then Paul Rowley and Kurt and everybody else around the club spotted his talent, obviously, and knew there's a player in there. And from the minute he came in, from his debut, he's been absolutely brilliant, and his best years are well ahead of him. And both of them fully deserve the international call-up, especially Dion. I think he's one of them players that could be forgotten in many ways. Is he going to go on and play for England in the first? Well, he's in his mid-20s, so he's not a spring chicken as such, but he's not old and, out of the game. Where's he fit in that scale? And he deserves recognition for the season he's had. And, yeah, he's absolutely brilliant. I'm delighted for the pair of them. I also thought Alex Gerrard could have done with a call-up, but that's, we can't have all our players in international duty. They'll have none fit for next year. But, brilliant. I'm absolutely delighted. And certainly, Tyler, because he is still young, he could easily see himself getting into a full international within no time.
Yeah. Ryan Briley, selected for Scotland, had a tremendous season for us. Sneed, Brodie Croft, Mark Sneed. It's been amazing. Ryan Briley, he surprised me, because obviously when what he did at Lee and what he did at Huddersfield when he first came, I wondered whether he'd be able to nail down our fullback spot. But he's been unbelievable. He's a Salford fan, I suppose, so that might be some part of it. He knows what the fans expect, and he knows what he has to do, and he's probably living the dream there. Scores in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup for your hometown team and get called up for Scotland is fairy tale stuff. And I think he's in Toronto as well, chatting in some thing this week, so he's jet set as well.
Yeah, he came through a tough time, didn't he? Early in the season, he got a lot of criticism from certain factions, and he's overcome all that. And the strange thing is, when you listen to Brodie and Sneed talk, they always mention that Ryan, being part of this trio that's, and I think Andy Ackers could easily be put in there with them, but that makes us tick. And you only notice when he didn't play this season, that we lacked that little bit of something. And some of the plays that we put together, the one with was it the drop goal we got in one of the games, and one of the tries we'd scored as well, and it'd all been set up, and they'd worked on it for weeks and weeks and weeks for that exact moment to happen. It's just that little bit of detail, and Ryan was part of that, and he's very much the brains trust. And I think the strange thing is, for me, with Ryan Briley, you forget that he is sort of 30 or whatever, because he still looks like he's about 22. So, I'm still thinking he's only a young lad. But he's got that experience. he's been in the game long enough, and yeah, he'll be delighted to be playing for Scotland. They've got some big games coming up. Obviously, Sam Luckley has played a season with us, and he's in the international squad. Danny Addy would have been. He hadn't been unfortunate to get that injury. We would have had 3 in the Scotland squad. In a roundabout way, but no, Ryan will be pretty proud. I'm sure he'll do him a good job.
About sign out one in. It's Oliver Partington in from Wigan. What do you know about him?
He's how do I put this? He'll add a bit of biff to our squad. Let's say that he's not scared of coming forward. He's a good player, very talented player. The Wigan fans are really liked him. But they've got a big, strong sort of pack, haven't they, Wigan? They've got that many players, they can't all play, and they've got to strengthen in other areas. I think he'd be a great signing, prop or loose forward, depending on what we need him for. Still a young lad. Again, another one with big years in front of him now. And a point to prove, perhaps, to his hometown team, and say, well, you could have let somebody else go, you've let me go. I think it's a great signing. He's got a bit about him. He's what's the term? A no nonsense player. Yeah, he brings us a bit of spark, and we're going to need that. Obviously, we're going to lose a few forwards, as we know, but he's got experience. He's been bred the right way. He's come through Wigan's academy, and they don't do it. They don't do it badly. So no, great signing, really good, and I can't wait to see him in a red shirt.
Yeah, opportunity club gives opportunity, and that's what we are. And he's obviously not getting the game time at Wigan. He's a good player. He'll certainly add something to our forward pack. It's up to him. We give him the platform. He takes that step, and we could have like an international class forward on our hands parking. That's the name of the game.
Very much so. That's why I'm a bit surprised, really, that we're going to have kind of let him go. I've always sort of rated him and thought he was going to be, one of their mainstays for the next few years. But apparently, he's got all very good, not just reports, but he's got good ways about him. He's a good guy to have about. He's got a great attitude, and that'll be something that Paul Rowley will have looked at, because he knows what he wants from a player, and it doesn't always just matter about just ability. It's what you can bring to the squad and how you fit in. We don't want any Billy Big Heads or anything like that. It's a case of we're all in this together. If you're not willing to muck in, you're not going to fit in here. So no, I think we've done our own work, and I think we've got a good player there.
Yeah, departures wise, Greg Burke and Jack Wells have gone to Barrow. Yeah, I like Burke. I like Greg Burke. He did a great job for us. Instrumental in that run to the grand final. We spoke to him about that on a previous podcast, and how much sort of the belief it was in the team at the time. Worked hard. He sort of turned into like one of us, really. And that's kind of the biggest compliment I can give him there. Jack Wells, unfortunate with injuries, I think I'd have kept him, but obviously Paul Rowley has other ideas. But yeah, I wish them both luck, and hopefully we'll be tearing up the pitch at Barrow.
Yeah, Greg, what a character! Great to have in your squad. He is the kind of character that Paul Rowley would have loved. Obviously, his game time was limited anyway this year, and we're obviously moving a different direction, and younger, possibly younger players. But Greg's been a star for us. I've been a big fan. I remember when we signed him, it was a bit Greg Burke, and what a player he's been. He doesn't let you down. He's the type of player you need in your squad. He'll come on, he'll do his job. He's another sort of no-nonsense player. Just get on with it, go forward, get up. And he was there every week for us. And I agree with Jack. I like Jack Wells. I thought he had the games that he managed to play for us, he looked really good. But maybe his injury record's gone against him here. And we've decided that yes, you are still a player. You have still got something to give, but maybe we can't take the risk at this level with it. The budget, we've got. We need to get players that are going to be available 90% of the time. And Jack, unfortunately, hasn't been a Salford lad and all, so it's a huge shame. But like I say, Barrow's one of my other clubs, if you like, possibly my other club. So I'm quite happy about that. I think they've got two really good players there. I'd love to see Barrow fighting to get back into into top flight.
Yeah, you never know with all this IMG business. You never know what might happen in the future, Parker. We'll come on to that in a second. Another departure, Sam Luckley, he's gone to Hull KR. For me, a bit of a strange decision. Obviously, he has his own reasons why he's gone, I suppose. He was in our 17, worked hard, tackled hard, nice bloke as well. Disappointed that he obviously decides to go to Hull Kingston Rovers, or we didn't offer him a contract, whichever one that was. But for me, probably the fact that Hull KR probably would have offered him a starting spot in that starting 13 could probably be a swing decision for him. But I do wish him all the best. I think he's been fantastic for us. Another sort of opportunity player that's come through and gone on that road of leaving the club, and you never know, it could go on to be like a Dan Murray or something like that. You never know.
Yeah, again, I'm with you there. I think he's been great for us. A real sort of crowd favourite as well. He developed into, never let us down. I'm disappointed. I think it can only be a financial decision. I can't imagine why we would let him go, because he's developed so much. And again, he's still only young. He's got a lot to learn. He came from the Championship. He was at Newcastle. We took a chance on him, and it's worked. I really think it has, and I was a little bit shocked. I was hoping we might pull something out towards the end and keep hold of him, but Rovers have got a good player. The only other thing is, I suppose, with him being a Geordie, he's a little bit closer to home on that, on the East Coast. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. But yeah, big shot really. I like Sam, and I wish him all the best for the future.
Yeah. Other news: our ladies are in action in the grand final against Alton at Bradford on Sunday. £5, I think, for a ticket to get in the game, or you can pay on the gate as well. So hopefully the ladies will get a big Salford following, because obviously it's a massive game. They win that, they're in Super League 2, which is a dream considering they didn't exist 12 months ago. So we've covered them on this podcast, haven't we, on a weekly basis. We've seen the journey, and I believe in fairy tales, Parky, and fairy tale always sometimes do come true.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal, hasn't it? What a great year, great story in so many ways, and it's fully deserved. We know what they've, we spoke to the people, we know what they've been through and what they put in, and the kind of the enjoyment they've got and given this season has been great. And they've already got one bit of silverware on the shelf. Let's hope they can get this one done. It's a big game against a good team. They'll know that, but they'll be ready. We've been through all this now. I think it's our time to shine, and just hope another ground we've had bad luck on in the past. In fact, the worst luck of all on that pitch, if we remember rightly. But no, our girls they're fresh, breath of fresh air. And I don't think there's any fear for them. We said at the start of the year, didn't we? They can go and be whatever they want and do whatever they want. And I think this is their crowning glory of the year.
Yeah, exciting times. Hopefully, a big crowd down there. 3 p.m. kickoff at Bradford. So if you can, get down to Wadsall Stadium and cheer our ladies on to Super League 2. Other final bit of news, Parky. One of our greats, David Watkins, was inducted into the Hall of Fame, as was a sort of legendary rugby league player, Salfordian Adrian Marley. 2 fantastic players, both with Salford in their hearts, being entered into the Hall of Fame. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, richly deserved for both of them. Obviously, Di was. If you speak to anybody about Salford Rugby League and you ask them to name a player, anybody of a certain vintage would certainly say David Watkins. You know, him and Salford are just that's us together. A great man, great ambassador for the club as well. In many ways, even now. So yeah, richly deserved. Been probably a little bit later than it should have been. And Mozza, well, what can you say about the guy? He's done it on both sides of the world. You know, not many British players go to Australia and dominate them, and he did that. They loved him over there. They absolutely loved him. And he did get his chance to come and play for us, his boyhood club eventually. Probably 15 years later than we would have liked, but he came anyway. I remember saying to my brother when we signed him, one thing I want to see Adrian Morley score in front of us, and he scored in front of the shed at the AJ Bell, and it was one of the happiest moments. I think I just thought that's it. It's kind of full circle now. He's done what was needing to be done. Yeah, been great for Great Britain, for the Roosters, Leeds, even Bradford, Warrington, ourselves. Great, but yeah, and David Watkins is probably he's going to be in the top 3 Salford players ever, isn't he? No matter who you ask. And as a Welsh legend at both codes, he's rightfully in there. And yeah, I hope that's something that some of our players can look at now, and certainly younger players, and think one day I want to be like them.
Yeah, it was obviously well deserved, and great to see Salford being represented in the awards. Final one, Parker. Let's talk about this IMG framing the future of rugby league. What do you make of it? A lot of messages going on about category A teams, category B teams, no relegation and promotion anymore. It's all back to licenses again. But if you're a category B team and you finish bottom, you can go down. But if you're a category A team, you can't, which is a strange thing for me. But there's not much detail, let's be honest, about it. It's more of a bullet point sort of exercise. So I'm sure IMG will put a bit of meat on them bones for us before the season starts next season, and then we'll have a better idea of what our future holds.
Yeah, I don't think, from what I've seen, I know there's not a lot of depth there, like you say, but I don't see how they think that this is going to grow the game. The game at the moment for me it's not in a very good state. The game is simply dominated by the same teams every year, and this isn't going to change anything. That's not going to make it any more difficult, easier for anybody else. And if you're saying to Wigan, Leeds, Saints, Warrington, you can't be relegated, what is that doing for the sport? I understand, in Australia they have this, they don't have relegation, and a lot of American sports, it's all franchised. And I get the benefit of franchising. I do get it. But there has to be an option, and there has to be jeopardy. And there isn't. Well, there is for certain clubs. Well, therefore, It's not a level playing field. The game needs to be easier to understand for people who don't follow the game. They already get a little bit confused by how we work. But I don't know what we're saying to clubs with ambition. Like we mentioned before about, I've got a thing for Barrow. Now, we'd love a team in Cumbria. Super League would absolutely love it. It's a hotbed of rugby league. What chance have they got? They'd have to sort of build a new ground, find new finance. But they might just have a really good team. For me, it should be, the merit should be on what you do on the park, not what you've got in the stands or anything else. That's never going to be fair. So it's a strange one, this categorizing teams, and I understand it should be a minimum of like a level of where your club should be at, what you should be able to achieve, but don't put it out of sight for people, and don't make people untouchable, because that takes away all the jeopardy and competition. But one thing I did see was they were thinking of scrapping the Magic weekend, which I fully agree with. I've never really understood why we have an extra game every year. And they want to promote the Challenge Cup more, which, yes, needs to be done. But the amount of people I've spoken to recently have said the game's it's gone stale and it needs something to happen. You know, you see 60,000 turning up at the cup final, 60,000 at Old Trafford for the grand final. Where have these people gone? They're still there, but they don't want to turn up. Neutrals aren't interested. And it's the same teams. But this isn't going to change that. This is going to promote that, if anything. Yeah. And that's where I fear a little bit for teams like us and Wakefield and, you know, anyone towards the lesser financial stages of Super League and everybody else in the Championship and below.
Yeah.
I worry that there's going to be separation and you're going to end up with Super League 1, Super League 2, Champion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's nothing in between. I think it should be down to what you do on the park that matters.
I think the top of our game is suffering from, I'm going to call it success fatigue, that you're constantly in grand finals, Challenge Cup finals. As a fan, doesn't really excite you. If we had a Wigan fan here, a Saints fan, they'd be like, what do you mean I go to the grand final every season and I love it every time we go? But if I said to you, you're going to go once, it's going to mean that much more to you than if you know you're going to go back. Maybe not next year or maybe the year after. And that is the reason I think why it tends to drop it off, because like you say, it's shared amongst 3 or 4 clubs and their fan bases are used to being there, so they'll think, well, we won't go this time, we'll go next time, rather than pulling out all the stops to get there. Like we got there 2019, 64,000, something like that, biggest attendance in the last sort of few seasons. I'm not saying it was all us, I'm just saying it probably was a big percentage of it, because it was our moment, and every Soul fan got moved heaven and earth, didn't we, to get there, just to enjoy Salford at a grand final. But if we were doing that for the next 5 years, we probably would be similar. We'd be like, well, I'll go next year, it's fine. But because it was a one-off, everyone turned up. And like you said there, Parker, how would you change that without sort of changing the whole sort of transfer situation where you could draft players in rather than selling them on to people or whatever, or the RFL funding certain players' wages to go to a different club, like American football or thing like that. But I don't know whether we have money in the system for that, really. So it's a bit of a difficult situation. But IMG that's there. They need to figure it out, don't they? And I think what we talk about, what category we'd be in. Obviously, we've been quite successful in the last sort of 3 or 4 years, so they can't sort of point the finger at us and say, well, you're not really bringing anything to the sport. As a club, I think we've developed. We've got a ladies team, we've got the learning disability team, the physical disability team. We're a proper rugby league club now, so they can't really just sort of point to us and say, oh, you're not really developing sort of players yet. We haven't got an academy system yet, but they denied us the opportunity to have one. So I don't think it'd be very unfair to say, well, you're going to have to be in a category B because we haven't got an academy when they stopped us having one. So that'll be interesting to see where they put us in that A, B, C category.
Well, that's one thing, that academy thing. They can't say, well, you haven't got an academy. Well, you're the reason we haven't got an academy. So that's wrong. There was talk of increasing the salary cap and adding an extra marquee player.
Yeah.
But what does that do for us? That makes it harder for us, because these other teams who do have that extra money will spend more money and have more, will have better players. Therefore, we can't reach the salary cap now. So if you raise it, what chance? It's just making a gap bigger that doesn't need to be there. We need to bring the bottom up. That's where we need to go. My brother sent me something today. In the last 25 years, all but one team in the NRL have been in the grand final.
Right.
In 25 years, all but one. Now you think about that. You can't say that about rugby league in this country, and it won't go that way either. It really won't. We're just not going to make it possible, and all we're going to do is make a gap bigger. And we need. I do agree, though. With the thing is, with the relegation thing, does cause a problem because it can be short-termism. You're signing players to keep you up if you come up, not signing players to build a team, to build a squad, to build the future. But how do you make that fair? I mean, like we've discussed about, the French team. Did you give them dispensation? Well, if you do that and they finish bottom, but you finish second bottom, you get relegated. It's not your fault because you didn't finish bottom. But they don't have to go down. So it's how do you bridge that issue? It's a huge thing, but I'm not saying it's any different in most sports. Football, you're only ever going to get 3 or 4 big teams who are going to win the league and the cup or whatever else, and everybody else is scrapping out. But I don't think it's as bad as we have in rugby league at the moment. Is St Helens winning the league 4 years on the bounce a good thing? Well, clearly not. We had it with Wigan in the 80s and 90s winning it every year, and everybody else was like, well, what's the point? So, yeah, it's tough. They've got a lot of work to do. And I just hope that, it's done neutrally, because the problem is rugby league, it's always had somebody from a club connection involved with running the game or whatever. This needs to be completely neutral and done not just on a financial basis, but what's the best for rugby league, what moves it forward as a sport. And that for me isn't let's plonk a team in Edinburgh. That's not what it's about. If that's the way they want to go, it's about supporting the teams we've got now and seeing how strong we can make the game.
That's what we'll have to wait and see, Parker. Later in the year, we'll get the meat on the bones. So that's all the news, and now we'll see what's happening in Whiteside's World of Rugby League. Sides World of Rugby League, and now, Parker, what we'll do, we'll look and see who are the victors in our Player of the Year competition 2022. So we'll start, Parker, by saying what a fantastic season it's been, but for both our men and women, and the nominated people, fully deserved of their place in the race. It was very, very sort of tough. Not many votes, sort of between the first, second, and third on both competitions, but they've been amazing this year.
Yeah, look, it could have been absolutely anybody, couldn't it? As the season goes on and ebbs and flows, and you pick out one player at the start of the year, and then somebody else comes along, and as the season's gone on, we've seen on both the men's and the women's team players come through that have really surprised us. We mention them every week. Certain players you go, didn't expect this, or and then injuries have come along and given somebody else a chance, and I mean, what a great year it's been, men and women. That we were one step away from a grand final with the men. The girls have gone one step further and already got a trophy. It couldn't have been much better as a season. It's been certainly, I think I said the other week, probably the most enjoyable I've had in a very long time of being a Salford fan. Really enjoyed it. Both the men's and the women's have been a credit to the club and to the city and to themselves. And like you say, any of these individuals could have won it. It's a shame we can't let everybody have an award just for their efforts, but this is the way it works. So it's been interesting.
Yeah. So which one do you go first? Do you want to go for the men first or the ladies first?
Let's do the men first.
Men first.
Yeah, just because the ladies are, we can end the show sort of with them, if you like. It's their week.
Yes, that's a good idea. So we'll start with the three-word man of the match award. Parker, you were in charge of that. It's a massive effort, because I remember over the years I've done it, and it's hard to keep going. You think, I'll leave that, I'll do it, and then leave it a couple of weeks, and you find you've leave it 3 months, and you're having to scroll through Twitter then for the next 3 hours and get all the results together. Is that kind of your experience?
Yeah, a couple of times I'd left it and done sort of 2 or 3 weeks, and the match, you're going back through all the tweets, going, "Oh God, I can't. I'm going to find this." But yeah, no, it's good to do though, and it's interesting because you do see people's views and opinions change over a year, and it's easy to pick out a player maybe at the end of the year that you go, "Oh, he was brilliant all year," but when you're actually adding it up and you look through the season, you think, so and so didn't get that many votes per week. They were just brilliant every week. They didn't stand out and get man of the match, but they were, there and thereabouts. So, yeah, some interesting stats really. But yeah, no, it was good to do, and I'll look forward to doing it again next year.
Good. That's what I was hoping to hear. Good luck with that. So, the winner of our 3-word man of the match award was Brodie Croft. Deserved winner, Parker.
Yeah.
Like you said, magical performance week in, week out. You're going to get, quite a lot of scores on the all 3-word match reports.
Yeah, it was. And the strange thing was, for a long period, early in the season, he wasn't in the top 3 or 4. It was at the start of the year. Elijah Taylor was running away with it a little bit, and then after a while, he just stopped getting man of the matches, and it's kind of a bit bizarre. I'm just going back through the results now.
Right. Give us the top 3 then, or top 4.
Well, the top 3 were Brodie won it.
Yeah.
Quite convincingly in the end, to be fair to him. In second place, was Joe Burgess, which is slightly surprising. But then you have an eye-catching game. He scores a few hat-tricks, and there you go. In third was Tim Laffey. And in fourth was our leader for quite some time early in the season, up till probably midway point when he got injured.
Right.
And that was the King. Came in fourth. And in fifth place was Callum Watkins, who was steady every week.
Yeah.
And that's about right. But one of the strange ones was the likes of Mark Sneyd finished well down. Right. And yet every single week he seemed to be, in the game. It's just strange how it works when it's man of the match per week and you're getting 3 points for it. How it adds up. But yeah, no, I mean, Brodie Croft was, we all know how good he's, I mean, nobody in the league was better. So how anyone in his own team was going to be better was going to be a bit of a struggle. But no, it was an interesting fight. And like I say, as the season went on, certain players came up and went down again. But yeah, I think every player in the squad got at least a point this year. So I think it just shows what a season we've had. Yeah.
Congratulations to Brodie on that award. We'll go now for Fans Player of the Year 2022. Go top 3. Like you said, came in at the beginning of the season, not our first choice centre, but that quickly changed, has to be said. Fantastic performances throughout the season, and well deserved of his third place finish.
Yeah, he's got super skills, hasn't he? His ball handling, some of them offloads that he's put Joe Burgess in for tries have been nothing short of magical. When you were an ex-professional commentator, more or less scream like Gary Neville or something. When he puts the ball out, you just shout stop it, don't you? It was that good. No, so he's been brilliant for us, and came as like you say, didn't have a club, nobody else was looking at him. Again, Salford, and as you always say, opportunity club. Paul Rowley and Ian Blease obviously put some kind of package together, got him in, and he's been brilliant all year. So yeah, another one we can look forward to again next year.
Yeah, second place in the males Player of the Year 2022 is Andy Ackers, Parker. Been a colossus really for our in our season. Devastating around the ruck, fantastic in defence. Really he could have been the number one, but unfortunately he has to make do with second place.
I'm delighted for him that he's got some recognition for his efforts. What a season he's had. Again, a player that, you know, he's been at London, he's been at Swinton. Nobody expects, you know, anything great. But working under Paul Rowley, who was a great hooker himself, he's obviously learned. And this season, he becomes such a threat. You know, people are talking about him. There's talk that he may even make the England squad now for the World Cup. Now, what season that would make for him? Yeah, he's come on leaps and bounds, and you know, sadly we missed him for most of the semi-final. I think if he'd have stayed on, we might have got something out of the game. I really do. But no, I'm delighted at that, because it's too easy to miss players like Andy. You know, he does his job every week. He's there every week, and he just gets on with it. But no, yeah, that's really good. I'm glad about that.
Okay, drum roll. The winner of our male Devil in Details Man Player of the Year 2022 is Brodie Croft, Parker. I know, big shot. Wins Man of Steel, but he's also won the big one, the Devil in Detail Player of the Year 2022. Here he is, receiving his award.
Just want to give a quick thanks to the Devil in Detail podcast for these awards. Hugely humbled and again honoured to get these accolades. It's been a really good season. I really love playing with these bunch of boys, and I certainly wouldn't be receiving these awards without both playing with these boys and the coaching staff for their support and structures they've put in place for us to play the way that we've played. It's been a joy to play at Salford this year, and hopefully we can do some big things this weekend and make it to Old Trafford. Thanks again.
Thanking us for his award, Parker. You don't win you don't manage steel if you're a good player, do you?
No, you know, what a signing he's been. What a season. As he's grown into the game and grown into himself, and his confidence obviously started to peak again, get back to the levels that he was clearly at back in Australia a couple of years back. Absolutely phenomenal. I think this award might be the one that makes him sign for another 2 years. No, I mean, I suppose it's always good if you're a player to be recognised by, you know, your peers, but then the fans as well, the people who are paying the money every week to come and see you. He's an entertainer, and everyone in rugby league knows about him now. And it's a joy to have him in our team. And yeah, I don't really think it could have gone anywhere else in the end, could it? But no, just delighted to watch him in a red shirt.
Yeah, fantastic player. Like you said, lit up the season, Annie, and if he signs that new contract, gets to 3 years, he'll be sat in that press conference going, you know what? When I got them 2 awards from the Devil in the Detail podcast, it really hit me hard, and I thought, you know, this team, this is where I belong. That's what I'm hoping he'd say. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So that's the men. Congratulations, Brodie, on your award there. Let's turn up to our attention to the ladies now. Parky, cup final, grand final this week. You know, what an exciting time for them. Competition very, very strong in this poll. I had to ring the trophy shop 3 times in 8 hours to change the name. That's how close it was. Which is you know, a testament now of how good this team is, that there was movement up to the very end, Parker.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It could be any of that team. I think we said from that first game how good they look, but they've grown so much, and their efforts that they've put in. You know, I say it every week, no, but it's in their own time. There's no financial reward for any of this. It's not, you know, these girls are doing it because they love what they're doing, and they obviously have a great bond together. But to watch them each week, a different player will you know, shine. But it's very hard to pick. I don't know who will win it. I
haven't told you, have I?
And I could, you know, I couldn't pick between them. There's so many of them. Yeah, I'm just going through it really in my head who it'd be. You know, you've got the brains, you've got the leaders, you've got the the entertainers, the the ones that put the graft in. It's just a real team, and yeah, I'm glad you're doing it. I don't want to single anybody out.
This might be magical radio here, Parky. When I announce a winner, and you go, "Wow," that's the reaction I'm hoping for, rather than what. So, third place in the ladies' player of the year for 2022 is Captain Louise Fellingham. Captain fantastic, the leader, magical moments, throughout, leads by example. All the ladies look up to her, and well worthy of that third place spot.
Yeah, skipper. She did win an award this week as well, didn't she? From the actual league, being the best player anyway. So it just shows if she's not winning this award, how tough this competition is. No, she's brilliant. She really is. And when we had her on the podcast and she spoke, she was so sort of engaging, and a knowledge of the game and everything else was brilliant. And yeah, she could have easily won it. I think I actually expected that's who you were going to say. I really did. So that's knocked me a little bit now. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Second place for the ladies was Helena Walker. Second place. Obviously, we all know about the journey, about the knee injury. Getting fit, getting into this team, and developing into a vital cog in it. So to finish sort of runner up in this poll of the ladies players shows how highly regarded she is from us supporters as well.
Yeah. Well, everybody said it, hasn't they? All the girls we spoke to have mentioned her and the work she's done, and like you said, the story of coming back from that injury, which could have just finished the thoughts of playing the game. It's a mental thing as well as a physical thing, but she's got herself into great shape again, and I mean she's in a great position to do that in her role as what she does as her own job. But brilliant, really good, really happy for her. That's one of those I suppose good news stories, isn't it? Where she's been out of the game, she had the injury, it could have finished everything, but no, brilliant. That's another good one. Yeah, I'm glad that there's recognition for that, and obviously her performances as well.
Yeah. So the winner of the Devil in Detail Ladies Player of the Year 2022 is Megan Condolif Parker. We talk about the strike, we talk about the X Factor, but Megan works hard.
Yeah.
I've never seen a forward willing to graft like she does, week in, week out. Highly regarded by everybody, and fully deserving of the Player of the Year Award 2022.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely. She's been brilliant all year. I think it might have been my brief talk at the Dog and Partridge. No, it's funny that because Brodie Croft was on the set. I must have done something right. No, yeah, brilliant, absolutely superb, an absolute workhorse, a warrior, as you would say.
Yeah.
And one of those players that, again, it would be easy to kind of overlook in many ways, because you just expect her to be doing what she does, to be as as good every week and as solid. And no, that's brilliant. I'm really happy for her. She's done really, really well, and to be recognised by by the people who are watching. No, that's super. I'm delighted. I really am. They're great. I mean, if any of them three, with any of the I don't know, 20 odd players could have been, but yeah, they're probably the top three, and that's really good. I'm delighted for her. Really.
Yeah. I can't thank our listeners enough for voting on both. We are over 1,000 people who put the votes in, which is amazing. On both sort of polls, which is great. But yeah, both worthy winners both a credit to the club and to themselves. And yeah, fantastic. Congratulations to both. Here's what Megan had to say about her victory.
Hi, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that voted for me for Player of the Year. It honestly means so much, especially in our first season together. I want to say thank you to my sponsors, Smith & Love Planning Consultants. I couldn't have done this season without you, and your support throughout the season as well. All the supporters that have come along to games and away days and stuff, especially Woody as well. Like, you know, it's going to be a good game when Woody and his Barmy Army are shouting and chanting on the sidelines. Massive thank you for the coaches, the coaching team, Chris, Matt and Dawn, constantly pushing me week in, week out to just keep on improving, be better and better week on week, and trying to find out where my limit is. And yeah, I wouldn't be half the player I am if it wasn't for your support or Matt's wise words before a game. And again, massive thank you to the parents driving me round the country when I was younger to play rugby, bringing back my love for the game by telling me all about the Salford trials. I wouldn't have even been on the team if it wasn't for them pushing me to go for it. So massive thank you. It means a lot. Thank you very much.
That was Megan giving us insight on how she feels about the Player of the Year award. Well, like you said, Parker, you know, great player, and well worthy the win.
Yeah, and as with everything this year with the ladies team, she will be the first, as they are the first, to you know, to do anything. So she's the inaugural winner of this award, and that'll never be taken away.
No,
I mean, she might back it up and get it again next year. You just don't know, do you? But no, brilliant. But the whole team deserve everything to get, and I hope it all comes right from this week. And I hope she can, you know, she pick up perhaps a player of the match this Sunday, just to top it all off for us. But no, brilliant. What a great year it's been.
Yeah, it's been amazing. You know, well done everybody who took part. But there your winners, Brodie Croft and Condolith. So that's the end of this podcast, Parky. Another fantastic show. Really enjoyed it. Obviously, going through our Player of the Year awards, it kind of like puts the end on the season, even though the ladies do have the last hurdle jump.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Yeah, it seems like a long time ago since the last one we did. Obviously, the Saints game in between. Like I said, I had a chance to calm down, so we had a proper discussion, not so much just a rant. But yeah, and then everything else that's gone on, it's been a good chat, and let's hope that you know, this week finishes off in the right style now, and the ladies get the reward that they deserve.
Yeah, wishing you all the luck in the world, ladies. Always believe something wonderful is about to happen, and I believe it will on Sunday. So big thanks for tuning this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Bro Paxton. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, YouTube. Good luck, ladies. See you on the other side.